Take a deep breath. Inhale the smell of freedom, the scent of freshly laid asphalt beneath my feet, a dry, earthy aroma I've craved for nearly 2 decades. The smell of lush green leaves after last night's rain still clinging to every broadleaf and tamarind leaf along the road, faintly hinting at damp earth and the strong scent of wild plants. The smell of fresh air, no longer tainted by mildew, cigarettes, or the dampness of 4 prison walls. An air I had once forgotten, once thought I'd never fully breathe again. Inhale also the scent of the past, of 18 years imprisoned in darkness, in isolation. The smell of regrets and aspirations still lingering in every cell, every fiber of my being, as an inseparable part of my identity. They blend together, creating a symphony of chaotic emotions, both liberating and heavy. I walked out of the prison gates 18 hours ago. 18 hours, a seemingly short time for a normal person, just a night's sleep or a workday. But for me, it's as long as a lifetime, a long, arduous journey from darkness to light, from shackles to freedom. Every passing minute has been a test, an awakening. And this is the first time in 18 years I've been able to talk to myself as a free person, unsupervised, unjudged, unlimited by space or time. I sit on an old stone bench in a deserted park, under the canopy of an ancient tree, listening to the birds chirp, the rustling leaves. The wind whispers gently through the branches, like a soft welcome from the outside world, a world I lost too long ago, a world now opening its arms to embrace me again. I don't know who you are, or why you're listening to me now. Perhaps you are someone walking a thorny path in life, searching for something, an escape for a lost soul amidst the chaos, forgiveness for past mistakes that still torment you, or simply a reminder that you can still choose your path, that not all doors are always shut forever. Perhaps you are lost in a maze of wrong decisions, life's turning points that have cost you dearly, or carrying an immense pain, a psychological burden without knowing where to go, whom to turn to for solace. You are lonely in your own home, among loved ones yet unable to speak, or standing at a crossroads in life, unsure which way to turn, how to proceed. Or simply, you just accidentally tuned into this podcast, curious about a story you've never experienced, a life you've never imagined, a hidden corner of society you've never touched. Whatever the reason, I believe that an invisible thread, a certain empathy, has connected us in this moment, in the virtual space of shared confessions. And if my story can do that for you, if it can touch a hidden corner of your soul, ignite a spark of hope or an awakening, then perhaps all those dark years were not in vain. It's not just a deep scar in my memory, an unfading pain, but a valuable lesson, a wake-up call that enlightened my soul and perhaps yours. It's a small lighthouse shining in the pitch-black night for lost souls searching for light. If my story can sow a seed of hope, a tiny glimmer of light in your heart, helping you find your way back to yourself, to your innate goodness, then I have found meaning in my existence, in those harsh days in prison. More than atonement, it is rebirth. Age 22 and the illusion of invincibility. When the world was within reach. When I was 22, I thought I was invincible. That's the age when youthful energy surges like hot lava, ready to burn through anything in its path. The age when you believe you can conquer the world with sheer willpower and burning passion. I strode through life with blind confidence, an arrogant self-assurance, believing this world was mine, and everything would unfold as I wished, with no obstacle able to hinder me. I felt like a god, able to control everything, to overcome every hurdle with a snap of my fingers. That feeling was exhilarating, intoxicating, like strong wine, and also very dangerous, because it made me forget the boundaries of restraint. I had it all, or at least I thought so. I had a girlfriend who always smiled, her eyes sparkling like stars whenever she looked at me, her gaze filled with admiration and trust. Her radiant smile was enough to melt all the ice in my soul, enough to chase away all worries. Her name was Mai, a simple girl who always brought me a sense of peace and warmth. Mai was the sunshine of my life, the motivation for me to strive every day, to dream of a bright future. We often dreamed of a small house with a white picket fence, a lovely little garden with rose bushes. We imagined adorable children running around in the yard, their laughter echoing through the space. I remember vividly our evening dates under the yellow streetlights of the old quarter, our hands clasped tightly, my small hands always warm, and our promises of a bright future, of a simple yet happy life. She trusted me completely, without a hint of doubt, and I thought that love was eternal, that nothing could break it apart. I also had a group of friends who were like brothers to me, people I could trust absolutely, people who were ready to share every joy, sorrow, and even the deepest secrets I couldn't tell anyone else. We spent sleepless nights studying for exams, intense football matches on dusty fields, endless drinking sessions with never-ending stories, our laughter echoing through the small alley. Once, Nam, my best friend, stood up for me in a high school brawl, taking the blows for me. We swore an oath to always stick together, no matter how turbulent life became, no matter what happened. That friendship was an indispensable part of my life, a solid support whenever I faced difficulties, a thread connecting me to the outside world. And I had a job that was just enough to live on, enough for me to take care of myself, enough for me to feel like a mature, independent man, no longer reliant on anyone. I worked at a small electronics store. The job wasn't too demanding, but enough for me to have a stable income. I had started saving, every penny, every dime, dreaming of buying a small apartment, a new motorbike to take my everywhere, to go on the backpacking trips we had planned. Life seemed to be laying out a red carpet before me, full of promise and brimming with hope for a bright future, for a peaceful, happy life. But what I didn't have was patience. I hated feeling insulted, hated being underestimated, hated weakness, especially my own weakness. I always wanted to prove myself, to be recognized, to stand above everyone else, to be admired and respected. My arrogance and oversized ego clouded my judgment, making me blind to small words and actions. I easily lost my temper, easily provoked by words or actions, whether accidental or intentional. I was like a dormant volcano, but beneath the surface, lava churned, just waiting for a tiny spark to erupt violently, consuming everything it touched, including myself. I didn't know how to control my emotions, how to step back to view problems objectively, to listen, to understand. I only knew how to charge forward like a moth to a flame, regardless of the consequences, regardless of all warnings, the fateful night and the price of impulsiveness. When the line between right and wrong blurred. That night, everything started like any other good time. Laughter echoed, glasses clinked, filling the smoke-filled, liquor-infused room, and endless chatter at our usual pub. I sat among my close friends, feeling life was beautiful, truly fulfilling. I raised my beer glass, the crisp clink blending with hearty laughter. But then, a simple argument, sparked by someone accidentally spilling a beer, or an offhand remark, suddenly turned chaotic. I don't remember clearly who said what, or what action ignited it. I only know that the atmosphere suddenly became thick, tense. Laughter and clinking glasses suddenly gave way to harsh words, defiant glances, eyes blazing with hatred. I remember vividly the angry gaze of the person opposite me, a look full of provocation and contempt, like a direct challenge to my already overly sensitive pride. I felt blood rush to my brain, every blood vessel seeming to burst. My ears rang. All I could hear was my heart pounding in my chest. My reason blurred, leaving only anger and a desperate desire for revenge, a craving to prove myself, a yearning to extinguish that scornful gaze, the gaze that had ignited the volcano within me. A knife was drawn. The blade glinted in the dim light of the pub, a cold light like a chilling prophecy of the tragedy to come. I don't remember who drew it, or why it appeared. Everything happened too fast, too suddenly, like a slow-motion film sped up to dizzying speed. Shouts, crashing sounds, and then, someone fell. A desperate "ah" echoed, tearing through the silent night, stunning everyone, freezing them for a moment. Blood flowed, staining the cold floor of the pub, dyeing a whole area red, like a horrific painting drawn with blood and tears. Shouts rang out, frantic, horrified shouts, screams of utter fear, of helplessness. and everything seemed to stop. Time seemed to stand still as I was pulled into the police car. The police car door closed, heavy like a gate of hell slamming shut before my eyes, cutting me off from the outside world. The dry clack of the lock echoed, chilling, like a life sentence determining my fate, a sentence I would carry for the rest of my life. I was still dazed, still hazy, still unable to believe what was happening. My mind reeled with hundreds of questions constantly swirling in my head. What happened? Where am I? Why me? Why did everything turn out so badly? When you're in your 20s, you think all doors can always reopen. You believe you can fix all mistakes, start over, turn back time to change wrong decisions. You believe life is a game, and you always have a chance to play again, always a reset button to go back to the beginning. But some doors, once closed, are forever. The prison door wasn't just a physical door. It was also a door cutting me off from freedom, from the future, from everything I once loved, once cherished. It was an end to a chapter of life, a chapter full of promise and joy. And it opened a new chapter, full of darkness, regret, profound remorse, and long days in isolation. 18 years in darkness and facing myself, an inner journey in a hell on earth. 18 years in prison was 18 years of facing myself. No social media, no phone, no one calling your name with a loving voice, a voice you once took for granted. Everything became terrifyingly raw and real. No virtual likes, no empty comments, no hurried phone calls. Only me, and my thoughts, my pain, my regrets repeating endlessly in my head, like an unending horror movie, a movie where I was the main character, and also the only audience. The four gray, cold walls became my only companions, witnessing every tear that rolled down, every sigh in the quiet night. Every morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. The gong rang, tearing through the night, pulling me from my restless sleep, from chaotic dreams, where I often found myself living another life, a life without prison. Work. Repetitive, mind-numbingly boring tasks, but enough to fill the time and prevent me from sinking into negative thoughts. I once peeled tons of potatoes, sometimes until my fingers were calloused and sore. I once wove bamboo baskets, each bamboo strand cutting my hands, but the physical pain was nothing compared to the pain in my soul. I once swept the prison hallways, each stroke of the broom like sweeping away the dirt from my own soul. Every job required patience, something I had lacked severely when I was free. I learned patience painfully. Eat. Simple, tasteless meals, just enough to sustain life, but I ate them, swallowing both bitterness and humiliation. Hard, dry rice, bland boiled vegetables, but I ate them, because it was the only way for me to survive, for me to continue my journey of repentance. Sleep. Unbroken sleep, full of nightmares and the struggle between reality and memory. In my dreams, I often saw myself with my mother, with my friends. Then when I woke up, I found myself again within the four cold walls, and despair washed over me. Repeat. Day after day, week after week, month after month, then year after year. Time passed so slowly that I felt like I was frozen. And in that loop, I began to I remembered my mother's smile when I came home late but still had hot food waiting. Her gentle smile, her compassionate eyes, and the soft strokes of her hand through my hair when I leaned my head on her shoulder. Mother was always the one waiting for me, no matter where I went, what I did, no matter what mistakes I made. Mother was the only one who never gave up on me. Now, her image became more vivid than ever, like a slow-motion film, every frame, every detail clearly visible in my mind. I remembered the familiar scent of her hair, the smell of pomelo shampoo, the smell of boundless love. I remembered the stories she told before bed, the gentle lullabies. That smile now stung my heart because I knew how much pain I had caused her, how I had made her hair turn gray prematurely from long nights of worry, from endless tears. Every time my mother visited, seeing her sunken eyes, her thin hands, I just wanted to hug her tightly and apologize. But I couldn't, only able to see her through the bars. I remembered the look in the eyes of the girl I once promised to marry, when she came to the prison for the last time, and never came back again. It was a drizzly afternoon, dim light filtering through the window pane. Mai stood there, thinner, paler, but her eyes still tried to hold onto a glimmer of hope. I clearly saw the torment in her eyes, the struggle between love and helplessness. She had tried. She had waited. She had hoped. We could only talk through the thick glass, our voices broken, hard to hear. She told me about the difficulties, about the gossip, about the long nights she cried alone. I apologized. I promised that I would change, that I would wait for her. But then, the prison door was too big, too heavy for her to continue carrying, for her to wait forever. That last look, now, is a knife twisting in my heart, reminding me of a lost love, a future that no longer exists, a promise that could not be kept. I had not only lost my freedom, I had also lost love and happiness. I even remembered the sound of rain hitting the tin roof in the small rented room, where I once dreamed of a simple future. The rain tapped steadily, like a sad melody, but it brought me a strange sense of peace. In that small rented room, barely 10 square meters, with a single bed, an old study desk, and a few books, I had once envisioned so many beautiful scenarios of a simple life, with a small house, a small family, and peaceful evenings with the one I loved. I dreamed of waking up with Mai, drinking coffee together, reading books together. I dreamed of weekend picnics, of faraway trips. Now, the sound of rain still echoes, but only the sound of rain in memory, the sound of a shattered dream, a future that no longer exists. The sound of rain in prison brought no peace, but only amplified the loneliness, the emptiness. Some nights I didn't sleep. I sat looking at the white wall, the cold, inanimate wall, yet it was my companion for the past 18 years. The small cracks on the wall, the yellow stains from time, the crude drawings of previous prisoners, all became as familiar as a part of my life, as a part of myself. I looked at them, trying to find some meaning, some message, and in my head, only one question echoed, repeating incessantly, like a curse, a reproach, a constant reminder. If I could do it over, how would I live differently? That question kept swirling in my mind, endlessly, like a curse, a reproach, a reminder. It was not just a question, but a dialogue with myself, an inner interrogation, a search for answers to past mistakes, to what was lost. I wondered, was there any chance for me to fix it, to make amends? Could I somehow turn back time to change that fateful moment? The moment I lost everything. I started writing, not for anyone to read, not for anyone to understand, just for myself, to put the shattered pieces of my soul back together. At first, I only wrote fragmented lines, laments, regrets. Then gradually, my thoughts became clearer. Lessons began to form. I started writing about the things I wanted to change, the things I wished I had done differently. Every word, every line was blood and tears, an awakening from the depths of pain. 12. Things I would do differently. Vows from the heart and a rebirth. I wrote down 12 things. 12 things that if I could go back, I would do differently. I wrote them on a small piece of paper, with a worn pencil. Every word, every line was blood and tears. A distillation from 18 years of living in isolation and regret. They were not just superficial promises, fleeting thoughts, but vows etched into my soul, guiding principles for my new life, if I had a chance to live again. Each one is a piece of profound regret, of deep awakening, and a fragile hope for a better future. I won't stay silent when I know I'm going down the wrong path. Silence isn't wisdom, it's cowardice, a lack of responsibility. I stayed silent when my friends fell into vices, when I saw them drowning in the whirlpool of alcohol, gambling, drugs. I stayed silent when I myself got lost in arrogance and delusions about myself. I saw the warning signs, the nudges from my conscience, but I ignored them, telling myself I was strong enough to handle everything on my own. I thought I could overcome it by myself, that no one had the right to interfere in my life, that I was free and needed no one's judgment. I was afraid of confrontation, afraid of rejection, afraid of being seen as weak. But the truth is, sometimes, We need another voice, a wake-up call from the outside, a hand to pull us out of the abyss. I remember one time, Quan, my best friend, started messing around, dropping out of school. I saw him hanging out with bad company, but I said nothing. I told myself, it's his business, let him be. And then, Quan got into serious trouble. I didn't speak up, didn't intervene. And now, I regret it so much. I will learn to speak up, not just for myself when I feel lost, but also for those around me, those I love, who are treading the wrong path I once walked. I will no longer be a coward, afraid to face the truth, afraid to take responsibility. Words have power, and I will use them to protect those I care about. I won't try to appear strong by hurting others. True strength isn't about being able to hurt someone with words or actions. It's not about imposing your will on others. Real strength lies in your ability to protect and love others, your ability to spread kindness and compassion. I mistakenly believed that aggression and indifference were signs of strength, ways to make others fear and obey me. I used harsh words and violent actions to hide my own weakness, insecurity, and lack of self-confidence. I built a defensive wall around myself by hurting others, by pushing them away. I remember once, I cried because of a thoughtless remark I made, a remark I blurted out just to assert my ego. I thought making her sad would make me look stronger, but in reality, it only made me smaller and despicable. Now I understand that the greatest strength is compassion, understanding, and the ability to turn pain into lessons, to be forgiving and magnanimous. Strength lies in your ability to lift others up, not drag them down. I will learn to show strength through love and kindness, by protecting the weak, by spreading good things. I'll call my mom more often, even when there's nothing to say. A mother's love is unconditional, a silent sacrifice that demands nothing in return. I took it for granted, seeing it as an endless spring that would never run dry. I was too busy with fun, social relationships, meaningless races to prove myself, forgetting the woman who dedicated her entire life to me, who stayed up all night worrying about me, who cried silently in the dark because of my mistakes. My mother was the only one who never gave up on me, even when the whole world turned its back. Short phone calls, simple inquiries about health, work, and saying I love you will never be too much, because each word is a brick building up love, a warm ray of sunshine warming a mother's heart. I remember once, my mother called the prison, her voice trembling as she asked if I was well, if I was eating enough. I just answered curtly, I'm fine, then quickly hung up because I didn't want her to hear the weakness in my voice. Now I regret it so much. I will cherish every moment with my mother, whether by phone or in person, because I know that time is limited, and I don't know how many more opportunities I'll have to say I love you to my mother, to hear her warm voice. I won't just call when I need something, but will call just to check in, just to say, I miss you. I'll learn to breathe, truly breathe. Breathe and listen to my heart. In our hurried lives, we often forget how to breathe, truly breathe. We breathe unconsciously, but we never truly feel our breath, never truly connect with our bodies. We forget how to feel our bodies, how to listen to the inner voice of our soul, the voice of intuition and conscience. I lived a rushed life, constantly chasing illusions, distant goals, forgetting to enjoy every present moment. I let worries and pressures sweep me away, with no time to calm down, to think. In prison, I learned to breathe deeply, inhaling the confined air, but still trying to feel every breath, every heartbeat. Deep breathing is not just a biological act to sustain life, but a way to calm down, to connect with oneself, to feel one's existence in every heartbeat, every movement of the chest. It helped me calm down when I felt angry, helped me find peace amidst the chaos. I will learn to stop, breathe, and listen to what my heart wants to say. Listen to the calls from the depths of my soul. Listen to my own voice that I have long neglected. I'll apologize. Sooner. More sincerely. An apology isn't a sign of weakness, but courage. An expression of a strong soul. A heart that knows how to admit mistakes. I was too arrogant to apologize, too afraid to admit my faults, too self-centered to consider others' feelings. I let relationships crack, wounds fester, all because of my stubbornness, my obstinacy. I thought that time would heal everything, or that others would just understand me. Now, I understand that a sincere apology has the power to heal all wounds, to open new doors for forgiveness and reconciliation. I remember once, I argued with Nam over a trivial matter, and I refused to apologize. Our relationship fractured from then on, and I never had a chance to apologize before I went to prison. Now, that pains me deeply. I will learn to humble myself and apologize as sincerely as possible. Not just with words, but with actions, with genuine remorse. I will no longer let apologies get stuck in my throat. I'll say, "I love you, Mom," instead of just silently pouring tea. Actions can speak louder than words, but words have their own power. They can touch the deepest emotions, soothe invisible wounds. I always thought that simply acting, simply caring for my mother, making her tea every evening, buying her medicine when she was sick, was enough to express my love. I thought she understood my feelings without me having to say them. But sometimes, a mother just needs a word, an emotional confession from the heart, to feel loved, cherished, to know that her sacrifices have meaning. I remember the evenings I sat with my mother, making her tea, but never daring to say the 3 words, "I love you, Mom." My throat felt choked, my heart pounded. Now I regret so much the words I didn't get to say. I will no longer be shy, no longer hide my feelings. I will say, "I love you, Mom," more often, as a reminder to her of my boundless love, a love I once neglected, once buried deep inside. I will no longer let loving words remain trapped in my heart. I won't wait for someone else to say "I'm sorry" first. Forgiveness isn't about waiting for others to apologize. It's not about accepting their wrongdoing. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the burden of resentment, from the shackles of the past, from the negative emotions gnawing at your soul. I used to harbor resentment and hatred, waiting for an apology from those who hurt me, those who put me in this situation. I thought that only when they apologized could I find peace. But that only made me suffer more, tire more, feel heavier. Resentment was like a fire burning me from within. Now I understand that I don't need forgiveness from others so I can forgive them. I will learn to forgive, whether others apologize or not, whether they deserve it or not. Because forgiveness isn't for others, it's for yourself, so your soul can be at peace, free, liberated from the burden of hatred. I will no longer be a victim of resentment. I'll learn to love without controlling. Love isn't possession. It's not a property you can hold in your hands. True love is freedom, trust, and mutual respect. I once loved blindly, wanting to control every action, every thought of the one I loved. I thought that was how to show love, how to keep my loved one by my side. But in reality, it was just selfishness, a lack of trust in the other person and in myself. I turned love into a burden, an invisible chain binding both of us. I remember the times I was needlessly jealous of Mai, checked her phone, and forbade her from meeting friends. I thought I was protecting our love, but in fact, I was just pushing her away. Now, I understand that true love is respect, trust, and allowing others to be themselves, to fly freely in their own sky. I will learn to love without controlling, so that love can fly freely, so that it truly brings happiness to both, not a burden. I will love with an open heart, not with fear. I won't waste simple afternoons with the people I love. Happiness is often found in the smallest things, the most ordinary moments that we often overlook, often take for granted. I used to miss so many beautiful afternoons, so many meaningful conversations with my mother, with my friends, just because I was busy chasing distant goals, illusions of fame, meaningless pleasures. I once thought that only grand things, resounding successes, brought true happiness. But now, I understand that those moments are priceless. Those memories are the most valuable assets. I remember the afternoons Mai sat reading next to me, the rustling leaves outside the window, the evening sun filtering through the foliage. I didn't cherish those moments. I rushed away to seek trivial things. I will cherish every simple afternoon with the people I love, every story, every smile, every glance. Because those are the memories that will stay with me throughout my life, memories that no money can buy, memories that I once lost. I'll forgive my father, the man who never learned how to love his child. Pain from the past can hold us back, turning us into bitter, difficult, hateful people. But forgiveness can free us, helping us find peace in our souls, freeing us from the shackles of the past. I used to resent my father, resent his coldness, his indifference, the lack of fatherly affection throughout my childhood. He was always busy with work, with social connections, and never truly spent time with me. I let that resentment gnaw at my soul, making me bitter, difficult, and always seeking to rebel. But now, I understand that my father was also a victim of circumstances, of past wounds he never healed. Perhaps he too was hurt, never received true love. Forgiving my father isn't about accepting what he did, but about freeing myself from the burden of resentment. I will forgive my father, so that both of us can find peace, so that I can heal my emotional wounds, and so that I can live a life no longer haunted by hatred. I'll laugh more, cry more, live more genuinely. Emotions are part of being human. Don't suppress them. Don't hide them. I used to hide my emotions, thinking that showing them was a sign of weakness, something a man shouldn't do. I tried to appear strong, indifferent, like an inanimate rock, but that only made me more isolated, more distant from those around me. I built an invisible wall between myself and the world. Now, I understand that expressing emotions is a way to release, to connect with others, to live a fuller, more authentic life. I will laugh when happy, laugh heartily, without reservation. I will cry when sad, cry loudly, without shame, and I will live genuinely, hiding nothing, falsifying nothing. I will embrace all emotions, because they are a part of me, a part of this journey. I will never take freedom for granted. Freedom is a priceless gift, a privilege not everyone has. I used to take freedom for granted, wasted it on meaningless things, fleeting pleasures, useless arguments. I used to think that freedom was my right, and I could do whatever I wanted. But 18 years in prison taught me a valuable lesson about the value of freedom. Freedom is not just the ability to move around, to travel from one place to another, but the ability to choose, to live the way you want, to be yourself, to speak your mind. Freedom is breathing fresh air, seeing the blue sky, hearing birds sing, feeling the sunlight. I will cherish every moment of freedom and live a meaningful life, letting nothing bind me, letting nothing stop me from achieving my dreams, dreams I cherished throughout those dark years. Freedom is the most precious thing I have, and I will never lose it again. Each thing I wrote is a piece of the person I could have been, if I hadn't let anger lead me astray. These are not just regrets, tears rolling down the page, but commitments, reminders for the future, for my new life. I'm not telling this story for your pity. I don't need that. I'm telling it. So that if you're standing before a choice between anger and forgiveness, between silence and speaking up, between staying and leaving, you will choose what's better for yourself, for your future, for your loved ones. Freedom doesn't come from an open door, but from a heart that lets go. The final lesson from the abyss. I once thought my life was over. The day I walked through the prison gates, that cold iron door closing behind me, I thought that was the end of everything. The dry clack of the lock echoed, like the slamming shut of hope. I thought I would forever be a prisoner, never able to hold my head up again, never able to live a normal life, a meaningful life again. I plunged into despair, into the darkest thoughts, thoughts of death, of ending it all. But today, I'm sitting here, no longer a prisoner of the past, no longer confined by past mistakes, but a free person, choosing to tell my own story, choosing to live a new life, a life filled with light and hope. I no longer feel the weight of invisible chains, no longer haunted by the ghosts of the past. Freedom doesn't come from an open door, but from a heart that lets go. Letting go of resentment, letting go of regret, letting go of a painful past, letting go of the burdens I placed on myself. Only when we can release those burdens, those invisible chains, can we truly be free. Freedom is a state of mind, not a physical condition, not about where you can go or what you can do. It's liberation from the constraints of the past, the ability to live fully in the present, faith in the future, the ability to smile and embrace new things. And if you are still free, live as if it's a priceless gift, a privilege not everyone has. Don't waste it on meaningless things, fleeting pleasures, or unnecessary arguments. Don't let negative emotions hold you back. Don't let past mistakes define you. Don't let the judgment of others deter you. Live a full, meaningful life, and never forget that every day is an opportunity to start over, to become a better version of yourself, to write a new chapter for your life, a story full of hope and light. Take a deep breath and start now, a call to action for a new life. My dear friend, if you are listening to this podcast in a small room, where everything seems to be in disarray, where you feel stuck and can't find a way out, where you feel lonely and lost in life, close your eyes for a moment. Let my voice guide you. Guide your soul. Take a deep breath. Inhale peace, serenity from the air around you, from the small sounds of life. Exhale worries, sorrows, the burdens weighing on your soul, the fears holding you back. Let your mind settle. Let chaotic thoughts gradually disappear. Then ask yourself one question, a sincere question, a question that will change your life. If I could start over, I would. Don't be afraid of the answer, no matter how painful, no matter how it exposes your weaknesses. Be honest with yourself, with the deepest desires of your heart. Let those thoughts flow. Let those wishes take shape. Let the craving to live a different life, a more meaningful life, be revealed. Then don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for a miracle, some event to change your life. Don't procrastinate. Start right now. Right now, you can call your mother. Say the loving words you've kept hidden for so long. Say thank you to her for all her sacrifices. Right now, you can apologize to someone you've hurt, heal the cracks in a relationship, erase misunderstandings, emotional wounds. Right now, you can let go of resentment and forgive someone who hurt you, freeing yourself from the burden of hatred. Right now, you can start living a fuller, more meaningful life, a life you've always dreamed of, a life where you are truly yourself. This is the podcast If I Could Start Over, part of a series of true stories from lives that have been to the abyss, lives that have gone through the toughest challenges, to remind you that no one is beyond starting over, if they still have the courage to begin. The road ahead may still be thorny, full of challenges and difficulties, but as long as you have the will, have faith in yourself, have the courage to face the truth, you will overcome. Remember, this life is yours, and you have the right to choose how you will live, how you will continue to write the story of your life, how you will become the person you want to be. Thank you for listening. Live a life without regrets, a life where every moment is a gift, an opportunity to shine. Are you ready to begin? Stand up and walk right now. My dear friend, my journey has taught me a lesson that perhaps, if I hadn't gone through it, I would never have fully understood. Life is a gift, and freedom is its breath. Every day that passes is an opportunity for us to make amends, to love, to live every moment to the fullest. Don't let mistakes, fears, or prejudices hold you back. Be brave enough to face yourself, forgive what's past, and confidently walk your own path. My story is proof that no matter how deep you've fallen into the abyss, the light of hope is always there, waiting for you to find it. And I believe you also have your own story, your own feelings to share, your own lessons to spread. If this story has touched your heart, if it has sparked a glimmer of hope or a different thought within you, don't hesitate to express your feelings. Subscribe to the channel to not miss other inspiring stories we'll bring you. A simple click from you is a huge motivation for us to continue this journey. Like this video to let us know that you've listened, empathized, and found something meaningful. Every like is priceless encouragement. Don't forget to share this video with those you think need it, those who are lost, seeking a way out, or simply need a reminder that they are not alone. The power of a story multiplies when it's shared. And most importantly, turn on notifications to receive alerts about our latest videos as soon as we post them. Don't miss any story that could change your life. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Remember, if I could start over,